Good morning. Actually, it could be good afternoon, good evening, or even good night for you. Welcome to Recruiting Conversations with recruiter guy Bill Humbert. This one is important. That's the reason I got all dressed up for you. I'm gonna put this up like this and this like this. The next step in the sales process is the needs analysis. So you've gone through, you've identified what companies may need. You've created a service or a product that they will probably need, and you've found potential customers. And now what you're doing is you're trying to determine whether your product or service meets their needs. So it's called the needs analysis. In the recruiting business, on the recruiting is sales side, having problems getting my words out today. Then this step is called the interview. Now, over 40 plus years, 1981 is when I started recruiting. Over 40 plus years, the majority of the managers that I've worked with have never been taught how to effectively interview. Think about that. Now, I'm going to tell you things throughout my entire conversation. I'm an East Coast kid originally. I grew up in the DC area, and I can be pretty direct, and I'm going to be direct this time. If you have not trained your managers to effectively interview, you have not trained your managers how to select the best qualified candidate. That's scary. And there have been times where I strongly recommended another candidate to the hiring manager. And sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. And it's okay. They're the ones managing, not me. But with my experience interviewing, and I interview every candidate, excuse me, even the ones who are laborers. And then that enables me to force rank the candidates for my clients. And many times the manager selects somebody that's not the right person for whatever the reason. For instance, one time I had a client that was searching for a database manager. And I found about four pretty strong candidates. One of them lived in Philadelphia. And as I was interviewing that person, the position was in Western Virginia in a small community. And that person was coming out of Philadelphia. I asked that person, so, this job is going to require relocation. Are you going to be able to relocate to Western Virginia? And the candidate said, well, yeah, I think. And I'm going, uh-oh. And I said, why do you just think? Well, my wife's parents live in Philadelphia, and she uses them to watch our new child. It's valid. But that also raises a question about whether the person actually will relocate. Long story short, we interviewed all the candidates. The manager selected this particular candidate. And I had a meeting with her and I suggested, definitely a strong candidate. However, I really doubt that they're going to relocate. And I told her why. And he did get hired. She did not listen to my advice. He did get hired. And 6 months later, when they hadn't gone ahead and relocated, she asked him, so when do you plan on relocating? And he said, I don't think we'll be able to make that move. And she came to me and she said, "Hey, you know, he's not going to make the move." And I said, "Well, remember when our conversation, I said I had questions about whether that was going to happen. You selected him anyway." So it's important to train your managers not only to interview effectively, but also to listen, because they're going to give you clues during their conversation, and those clues will help you determine whether they're the right person to hire despite their skills. They may not be. In the future, and when we're talking about interviews, I've got a treasure trove of ways to determine whether the person is the right person. And and it's important to make sure you train them, because if you don't train them how to effectively interview, you may have a manager who starts asking illegal questions, and I've had those too. And I got to tell you how to handle that in the future, probably the next time we talk about interviewing. So we're kind of running out of time here today. And for me, it's a Friday and it's a weekend, and we're moving this next week. Uh, and actually, this is going to drop while we're moving. And hopefully, by the time my next one pops up, we'll be in our new home near Madison, Wisconsin. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you the next time.